Instagram like 12 minutes ago, and I was like, isn't she doing promo right now? How weird.
It was a very, you know what? I may have sacrificed dinner for birthday cake in order to post that Instagram, but it's a sacrifice I make, like birthday cake and Instagram or a healthy dinner. No,
Yeah, no, definitely birthday cake every time.
every time it's birthday cake and Instagram combined.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dude, where are you right now?
I'm in London. I'm in actually my housemate's bedroom because she has better Wi-Fi than me. And she's currently learning how to ride a motorbike in Romania. So I thought, why not steal it? So I'm just using her room.
Can you go to Romania at the moment?
She is Romanian, so she went back for Christmas, and then she was like, "Oh, England is terrible vibes. I'm going to stay in Romania where I can learn to ride a motorbike." And we were like, "Fairs, honestly, fairs."
Look, I'd do the same, straight up, straight up. Who are you living with?
I would do the same.
How many housemates do you have?
There are 5 of us in right now. There's normally 6, and it's all girls.
Oh my
so
God.
it's very fun times, but yeah, it's like fully a sitcom, and they're all students, so it's like a very sitcom vibe. I love it.
Do you guys have like living room parties to your unreleased songs?
Yeah, we have literally exactly that. Like I play them songs all the time, and they're so cute because they're not in music, so they don't really understand. Like they don't know what's going on. But like we'll have parties in our kitchen of just ours, obviously because of lockdown. Like you can't see anyone else, and you can't go anywhere. So we'll have like little house parties, and I'll play like their favorites of my unreleased songs, and they'll like bop along. It's very cute.
That's so cute. What do they do then? How did you meet them?
They are students, so they all go to a university in East London, and so, like politics students, like global health. And I know one of the girls in the house I grew up with. She lived down my road. We're like childhood friends, and then it's her friends, and I just joined the gang.
Girl gang, we're all about
Girl
it.
gang, very
Okay,
much
well,
so.
like any good movie, let's start this from the beginning then. So you're from Brighton sort of area. And I feel like that would be pretty seminal to your identity. Like I'm from a town called Brisbane in Australia, and I rep that really hard. Tell me about Brighton. My like touchstone to that is that the music scene is like really groovy. Maybe that's just I'm thinking of the Kooks, but like tell me about gigging there.
Love. Yeah, it is a great place. Also it's so funny. I have a lot of Australian friends from Brisbane, and you're at like the way you speak is so like them. I'm like, oh, so safe, so at home.
Dude,
I straight up
I'm
know,
like, I already know your Brisbane friends.
you know my Brisbane friends. It's so good. We need to get into this. That's a whole other conversation. I knew I recognized your name. I was like, I know who this is. But a whole other conversation. But very safe, very home. And Brighton is amazing. It's like London, but everyone is nicer and vegan and smokes. Not that I'm any of those things, but that's just how I describe it to people. No, but it's just like it's like a small seaside town essentially. But it's like I grew up busking, and it's the only place in the UK you can busk without a license. And it's like a great music scene. It's kind of the perfect amount of like seaside trashy, but also like really culturally like steep. And like so you can do like the clubbing on the seafront when you're just turned 18, and like you throw up on the beach, which I may or may not did. I cannot disclose that.
Rite of passage, you've got to do it.
Rite of passage, got to throw up on a beach somewhere. But yeah, and then there's like the lanes, which is really beautiful. Like these old cobblestone streets from like years and years, hundreds of years ago. Yeah, I love it. It's definitely like my home and where I'm from.
I'm picturing major Angus thumbs and perfect snuggling vibes.
Yes, it's exactly that. That's such an amazing. They literally filmed that in Eastbourne, which is not that far from Brighton. Also obsessed that you know that reference. Obsessed.
Dude, I like. What are they? The Stiff Dillons? That band?
Ultraviolet. I'm just like the interview is stunned. I'm done. Ultraviolet. I'm done. I'm out. Ultraviolet. Oh my god, such a banger. I used to listen to that all the time, unironically as a child. Stiff Dillons. Is it Aaron Kevin Johnson? Chef's kiss.
Yeah, Chef's kiss, and he's married to. Oh, are they still together? His wife's like 40 years his senior. I'm totally about that. I want to be her.
Rate it. Yeah, I respect all of it on all accounts.
Yes. Okay, so you wrote John Hughes Movie around the age of 17. Again, prime Angus Thumbs and perfect snogging teenage years. Why did you sit on this track for a while? Why didn't it make the cut for your EPs, and now is the first taste of your album?
I think it just didn't feel right. It's funny, I was actually writing today with the people I wrote John Hughes with. And yeah, like at the time it almost came out, I really did. And then it didn't, worse, it came out instead. And I think it felt too, it's almost, I don't know, I haven't thought this thought before I've said it, but it's almost too confident of a thing. That's always a great line for an interview. It's almost too, it's like, it was such this sort of like period snapshot, like this huge like 80s dramatic sort of anthem. And I think just as a person, I was still very much finding my feet in music and still figuring out what I wanted to sound like and who I wanted to sound like, and kind of making those like touchstones of like the artist that I am now. And I think that it felt like this big thing that I don't think I could maybe fill the shoes of yet. And it was super early it was like, yeah, that would have been, at the time, that would have been my third song. And it just didn't feel like a third song. I remember typing out a paragraph for it, and had to explain myself so much. I felt like there was so much to explain, and I didn't know I didn't know where to go from there. So it just, for various reasons, as I said, it got parked. But I always wanted to go back to it, and people always talked about it. Like friends and family members were like, I loved that song. And then, yeah, fully basically 3 years later, when we were talking about starting the album, and we didn't have that like lightning bolt song, the song where I was like, yes, this is it. And I had pretty much all the rest of the album, I would say, but not that song. And yeah, someone on my team, actually my manager, who I'm very close with, sort of brought it back up again and was like, I've always loved the song. What about John Hughes? And yeah, it just sort of like fit into place. And I was like, oh, yes. Just like, ducks in a row.
The one.
Okay. It's the one.
Okay, so in that case, are you sitting on other songs that you think are almost too grandiose for your image now? Like, is there going to be like an evolution into an absolute boss bitch, like really heavy? Like, is this going to be, is there a further trajectory?
Yeah, am I sitting on songs? Yeah. There's songs that will be, there were songs that will be on this album that are old, like that are much older, and that are a couple years that I've been saving for this moment. I would say maybe less so, because a lot, like John Hughes in a way was like this fluke, because I wrote it in a time where I was writing so many songs, and they were all, that's why kind of John Hughes is this amazing thing, because they so many songs and they were so sonically different. They were so random. It was like 60 shots in the dark, and I would go into the studio one day and I'd be like, I'm going to do an R&B thing because I'm 17 and I don't know what I want to do, so let's do something fun like this. And I did that over and over again. And so John Hughes Movie is like this sort of amazing fluke, because it's like truly stood the test of time, and it still feels just as good as it felt back then, but it was just a shot in the dark. It was like, and an 80s John Hughes banger. And then we did it, and then we did a load of other things. And yeah, I don't even know if that's answering the question, but yes, there are songs, but I would like to think now it's less shots in the dark. So it's a little bit
more in line.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay, so let's talk about the music video. Are there Easter eggs in there hidden for like further work? Because there are things that I'm particularly curious about in the video, but I don't know if it's just like classic people just reading into visuals.
Okay, I don't want to confirm or deny, because I feel like if I confirm, people are going to go like, where are they? And like look for them. If I deny, people are going to feel silly. I don't want either of those things. So okay. I will say that.
So like the Lost in Space poster, the Handle with Care t-shirt.
You've heard it here first. Those are not Easter eggs. I feel like I should probably say that somewhere on the internet, because I can see my fan group chats like going crazy. And
there will be Twitter
Lost
threads.
In Space. And I'm like, no, babes, it's not. But I can't weigh in. That would ruin the myth. But if a fan is like, committed enough to find this interview, then no. That's not an Easter egg. It just was fun.
You started on YouTube. You're playing in a high school band covering Beyonce. When did you start to realize it was actually a career?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Was it when you were signed, or was it before that?
Probably before that. I don't know if I thought of it as a career, but when I started seriously going to sessions and writing with people, maybe when I was published, I guess, maybe. Because at that point I was working. I was going to the studio like a couple times a week with different people, with different writers and producers, trying to make music, and I was having meetings, and I was doing the work of what being an artist is, planning shoots and traveling and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think probably then, which is I think it's one of the things, you only doing it can you realize that you're doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so what's the next installment in the Maisie Peters movie? When can we get the next taste?
Soon. There'll be another single in a month or two, and I'm not going to reveal too much, but when I wrote it, again, this is actually an older one, not as old as John Hughes, but not recent either. And I wrote it, and it was always parked, and it was always like the sister song in my eyes to John Hughes. So it's really fun that, like, and that's just truly how I felt. And it's really fun that it's actually now is the sister song to John Hughes. It's like John Hughes Movie's older sister is how I would see her.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, exciting. Maisie Peters, thank you so much for chatting with me. And it's such a pleasure to meet you. I can't wait to hang out with the Brisbane gang when you're in town.
Yes, Brisbane gang. I can't wait. One day.